Dr. Dana Selby here. Today we're going to talk about some useful stretches and exercises for tennis elbow. Tennis elbow is a condition where you get inflammation, either new or recent inflammation, which would be a tendinitis, so inflammation of the tendon, or a long chronic standing problem, which would be more of a low grade and more of actually a degenerative issue with the tendon, which is often called a tendinosis or a tendinopathy, of the muscles that pull your wrist backwards. And you can see them twitch a bit right at the outside of the elbow. Collectively, those muscles that pull your wrist back attach to that bony ridge on the outside of the elbow. The proper name for tennis elbow is lateral epicondylitis. So if you want to Google it, you can check it out. What you want to do is try to lengthen that muscle as much as possible when you're stretching it out. So keep your elbow straight and bend your wrist forward. You're going to get a really good stretch for those muscles that pull your wrist backwards. Now the way to deepen this stretch is if I put my opposite thumb underneath my wrist crease and I pull out. So I'm literally distracting out from the elbow and then put a pressure down on the back of my hand. I can get a deeper stretch without jamming the bones in my wrist together. Now, as with all stretches, you want to hold it a good 20-30 seconds, letting your muscles progressively relax into the stretch. Try not to hike your shoulder way up. Try to keep your shoulder muscles engaged so you're pulling your shoulder blades back and down. I have also seen a lot of people put their back of their hands on a surface, say a counter or something along those lines, and just push down. But again, I find that that jams the bones in the wrist. So make sure you're distracting outwards and then pulling down. A good exercise for tennis elbow is making the muscles and tendon, for that matter, working in the opposite position in which it would normally work. If I was doing a regular muscle contraction, say for example the bicep would be long and I'm making it work short. I want to do the opposite. I want to make the muscle work from short to long under load. So when I do what's called an eccentric muscle contraction, or the negatives when you're in the gym, is I'm going to start with my wrist pulled back as far as possible. So if you lean forward and prop your elbow against your knee, you can maximally pull your wrist backwards. Now, you're going to try to find the weight that works for you. Enough weight, but not too much so it hurts. So I've got a 1 pound, a 2 pound, and a 3 pound. Typically, you're not going to go more than 5 pounds at max. I'm going to put the weight in with my wrist pulled maximally back, and then I'm going to let it progressively lengthen, nice and slow and controlled. About 8 seconds on the way down, and you can see that now my wrist is bent all the way forward, and I've maximally lengthened that muscle. This is the important part. Take the weight out, and then shorten that muscle back. Put the weight back in, and progressively lengthen it. So you're only going from short to long under load. Make sure you're not pulling your wrist back with the weight in it, okay? Pull the wrist all the way back, put the weight in, down nice and controlled, 6 to 8 seconds on the way down. And you can really let that weight help to maximally lengthen, get a good pull through that muscle group. Now, you're only going to do that as many times as you can with good form. And one of the things that you can try to experiment with is starting with a heavier weight, say for example the 3 pound, do as many as you can with good form at 3 pounds, then do as many as you can with 2, and then as many as you can with 1. So essentially you're pyramiding down. I find that this is a good exercise that people can do, and it's quite effective. If you don't have weights, you can even use a can of soup or something of an equivalent weight value. Really important concept with respect to tennis elbow is when you're making a gripping motion, our natural tendency is to pull our wrist back. And that gives our gripping muscles a little bit of pre-stretch and they're able to grip stronger. So when you go to grip something, if you have tennis elbow, keep your wrist straight. Don't let it cock back even that little bit. And if anything, try to really concentrate on having that wrist completely straight or even bent forward a little bit when you go to grip. For more information on tennis elbow, you can contact us at Active Choice 519-853-2244. You can also email us at dr.dselby, S-E-L-B as in Bob Y, @gmail.com.